I have been told by a good friend of mine from years ago who introduced me, actually helped me when I first got started in the real estate world. He gave me a great lesson. The lesson was, he said, if you ever have a client who offers you a drink, he said, take it. He said, Rico, if they ever offer you a drink, take it. And I thought about that for years. So why is that so important? Why is that cup of coffee or that glass of water or that whatever so important? And I got to thinking, you know what it is? I figured it out. What it is this. When somebody offers you a cup of coffee, what are they doing? They're giving you permission to stay there for 10 minutes. They're giving you permission to stay there and talk to them for 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes, you're not going anywhere. That's what they're doing. That's actually what they're doing. So they're saying, here, would you like a cup of coffee? Sure, I'd like a cup of coffee. And they give you a cup of coffee. You're anchored there in front of them for the next 10 minutes. As long as this is hot and you're sipping it, you're not going anywhere, which is good. Now, this is the deal. You have 10 minutes in front of this client. You have 10 minutes. Let's assume with a listing presentation or your first time meeting a buyer. You have 10 minutes to show them your personality. Let's go from the coffee to personality. Is personality different than skills? Is personality more important than skills? You're going to be sitting in front of these people here now, all right? And you have two things to consider. You have your personality and you have your skill set. Let's go here to the skill set one. Skill set. Let's go to your skills. Every single real estate agent, every realtor out there in California, and there's over 100,000, closing in on 200,000 of them, most of them have this, I'm going to say most of them have the skill to be a good realtor. I mean, they do. They pass the BRE exam, so they have the qualities to be, they know what's right, they know what's wrong on an exam. Now, most of them know how to do an open house. Most of them know how to open a front door to show a buyer property. Most of them know what the hell they're doing. So when they go to an interview for a listing, what makes them different? What makes them different? Everybody has this, which is the what? The skill set. We have the skill set. So is personality, this one here, is that important? Are you kidding me? That's what sets us all apart. Let's start off with the definition of personality. Now, I found this in the in Wikipedia on Google, and it just got the most generic personality definition you can. Right here it goes. Personality: a set of habitual behaviors, cognitions, and emotional patterns that evolve from biological and environmental factors. Boom! I love it. Let's just go with that. Stick with me. All right. So it's a set of habitual behaviors. Real quick. Stick with me. Behaviors, emotional, and last but not least, cognitions. Cognitions. These three items here create our personality, right? Now, some of us have, a great solid one. Some of us have a softer one. The deal is, this is important when you're going to promote this, when you're going to share this with the client. This is huge. They're interviewing you. You're going to show them you have the skills. But that's not what typically is only going to get you that job. What's going to get you the job is this going to shine? Is your behavior going to shine? Is your emotional stability going to shine? Cognition is going to shine. Is this going to shine? Is this going to make an impact? And they're going to say, hell, I want this guy to work for me. Or hell, I want this gal to work for me. And it's not because you know what you're doing. It's because how you made them feel. Their first thing is this. They're going to want to feel you. They're going to want to feel that you have the ability, the confidence, yada, 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 to make it happen. And they're going to base it on this list here. Are you ready for this? Do you want to set yourself apart? And that's the biggest difference. That's the biggest difference is, can you make it happen? And all this is done because they have given you permission by offering you a cup of coffee, right? They're saying, here's your cup of coffee, here's your opportunity. What do you got? So it's your job to make them comfortable by providing them a fantastic personality, covering these things here, and making it happen. Think about this. If you had the ability, this is actually a pretty good question. If you had the ability to clone yourself, and you can take yourself out for a cup of coffee, out of Starbucks or whatever, would you have a good time? I mean, that's a pretty good question. Now, some of us don't have some of this stuff. Some of us have trouble with these items here. I believe that being driven, listen to this, I believe that being driven is a characteristic that could be either a skill or a personality trait. And this to me is probably the most crucial one in general. The driven one. The driven one. Look at that word there, driven. Don't you think that's crucial, that's important when it comes to hiring somebody? Don't you want someone who's got drive? Quick story. I had a buddy of mine, his name was Douglas. His name was Douglas. And Douglas was shy as can be. That was his personality. Douglas was shy. But he wanted to be a realtor. So one day I'm giving a training session, and it's funny, Douglas says, Rico, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I have this to make it happen in real estate. I said, Douglas, you're such a nice guy. When you and I here sit together and talk, what's the big deal? He says, well, I'm shy, and I don't know what to say, and yada, yada, yada. He had a bit of an accent, a Spanish accent. So I said, Douglas, it's all about your confidence. Are you driven? He says, yeah, I'm driven. I want to conquer the world when it comes to this stuff. He was driven. He was just shy. But he was willing to work at it. And this is what he did. Over the weekend, we had a good weekend. He came back Monday. I saw him on Monday. And he came back to me, and he was so excited. And he says, Rico, I got to tell you what happened. You got a minute? And I said, sure, Douglas, what's going on? He says, I did it. I said, you did what? He said, I was at Home Depot. He says, I was in line waiting my turn to pay for my items. And he said, this is the day I'm going to do it. He said, this is the day I'm going to offer that cashier, a complete stranger, my business card. He had never done that before. So to him to do that was going to be a huge success. It wasn't part of his personality. He wanted to make sure this was solid. He wanted to make sure he came out of the shell. He wanted to make sure he had not just the skills, because he had the skills. He wanted to make sure he can flourish his personality. He can create something better. This was his first attempt at promoting himself. He had to open up. So what did he do? It was his turn. He said, listen, my name is Douglas. And it was simple. Here's my business card. I sell real estate. If you need any help with real estate, please give me a call. It was a pretty dry spiel, but he did it. He broke down the wall. He made it part of his personality. He already knew he was driven. He just needed to open up some, and he did it. And that's all he wanted to tell me was I was able to do it. He broke down the wall of being shy. He ended up having an amazing real estate career. He ended up being one of the top producers in that office, all because he broke down the wall. Let's take a look at this again. Personality. Every realtor has the skill. The majority of the realtors, real estate agents have the skills to make it happen. Not all of them have the right personality that it takes. The personality is special. And it has been granted to them, the majority of the time, it has been granted to them with that cup of coffee. Now what you do with that cup of coffee is up to you, but it's your time to shine. It's as simple as that. I want to share something with you. A quote that I found from Bruce Lee. I don't know if you guys know Bruce Lee, a very famous martial arts expert back in the 70s. Bruce Lee once said, always be yourself. Express yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and duplicate it. Bottom line is be you. You got to show you. You got to show you, not just your skills. You got to show you.